Hello and good morning. My name is Pat Flynn, here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And today we're talking about you and the products that you sell and why people might not buy them. Whether you are already selling products or you're hoping to sell products in the future, whether they're physical products or digital products, it doesn't really matter. We need to understand what's going through a person's mind when they are making a buying decision, especially online. So today we're going to uncover 5 different reasons that people are not going to buy your stuff, so that by the end of this, you'll have the knowledge that you can use to put into your sales pages, into your sales messages, into the relationships that you're building with your audience, so you can make some sales, help more people, and ultimately, as a byproduct, make more money too. Welcome to the income stream. Enjoy the show.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Super stoked that you're here. Appreciate you spending time with me today. On Wednesdays, we start about a half hour earlier, so thank you for those of you who are in the room already. And for those of you who are watching the replay, hashtag Team Replay, let me know in the comments that you're here afterwards. But hey, again, I appreciate you for your time and attention, and I'm here to help you. I've been here every day for the last, 111 days. How crazy is that? Appreciate you so much. Karma Cashflow, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you. You are amazing. Let's see what we got here. Good morning, Pat. By the way, I caught the replay from yesterday, maybe my favorite episode of the income stream to date. And I know you've been on several of them, if not almost all of them, Karma. So I appreciate that very much. And as a reminder, like what you're seeing here from Karma, the super chat thing, like that just popped up right there. This is a sort of paid comment, if you will, that puts a little bit more money into my account. Any super chats that come in through the income stream are going to be passed forward to this month, yemenfoundation.org. There's some stuff going on in Yemen right now that are sort of flying under the radar. I want to bring some attention to that and offer some help there too. So I don't keep that. I send it over to them. Not required. You don't have to pay anything to get value here. It's not like it's a member-only chat right now and I will only interact with people who pay. I'm here to interact with all of you, but any donations go a very long way, and I'm here to serve others too. So I'm here to serve you. So let's talk about these 5 reasons and the things that people are thinking about and determining and trying to understand before they make a buying decision, right? Because that's essentially what we want people to do, right? We ultimately want people to buy stuff from us. Now, we don't just do it because we want to make more money. We want to do it because we want to help more people too. And ultimately, that's really what it comes down to. How much is this thing that you're offering, the solution, whether it's online, offline, it's a event or a digital product, physical product, how much is it going to help them, right? So hopefully baseline, we understand that the things that we are selling hopefully provide some value, right? I think that's a baseline. I think if you don't do that, then it's going to be very difficult for you to sell whatever it is. Like sometimes they say, okay, if you're a good salesman, you could sell ice to an Eskimo, meaning, well, hey, it doesn't really matter what it is you're selling. If you actually say the right words and you do the right things, sure, indeed, yes, you could probably sell things, right? And hopefully do a good job of doing so. But there's some things in the psyche of the customer that we need to understand up front to make our lives easier when it comes to selling. And selling, I know for a lot of us, let me know in the chat if you've ever been apprehensive or a little bit worried or have had anxiety when trying to sell something. I know I had back in the day when I first started. A lot of what helped me understand how to get out of that anxiety and have more confidence in making sales is actually helping people get a result. So before we get into these 5 things, that's ultimately what I want you to get to is a result for somebody, because that, number 1, is going to unlock a lot of the things that goes through your mind. Josh, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you right there. What software am I using to stream right now? Currently, I'm using Ecamm Live. I have a video on my channel. In fact, you can look at my entire setup at patflynn.com/live setup if you want to see all the equipment and the software and how it's all run and stuff. And there is an affiliate link for Ecamm that I have in case you want to check that out. Ecamm, unfortunately, is only Mac only, but if you're a Windows user, I'd recommend checking out something like OBS or Streamlabs OBS, or Slobs for short. Isn't that funny? Slobs, Streamlabs OBS. Anyway, question, does this also apply to get people to invest their time for something we're trying to sell that costs time rather than money? Yes, absolutely, Grandma Goody. Thank you so much for bringing this up, because many times what we're selling is something that's not just going to cost people money. it is going to cost people time. It could be both. It could be just time. It could be selling people into an email list, for example, or coming to a webinar where they're going to spend 2 hours with you, or coming live every morning for 111 days here on the income stream. Whatever it is that we're selling, there's going to be a barrier. And these things that we're going to talk about will help uncover those things that can help people make a decision to buy or spend time with you, if that makes sense. So great question, Grandma Goody. Thank you so much. Jen says, I sell on eBay and have an anxiety attack every time I get a message from a buyer. I completely understand that, especially if it's a customer that you've already have had access to or have already purchased something. I love getting questions, however, from prospects. When you get a question from a prospect, welcome that. That's a potential customer, somebody who's very warm, in fact, just needs a little bit of love and care. They might just have a question. They wouldn't message you if they weren't interested, right? That's what I try to keep in mind when a person reaches out to me and it's just not quite sure. That's also clues, if indeed you're getting questions about the product, of what else you should be including on that sales page or on that eBay sales page, whatever it is that you're selling. It's not clear enough yet. Questions that come in related to that can help you further refine and define that offer. Okay, so let's get into these 5 things. We're going to count down from 5 and then make our way all the way to 1. And 1 to me is indeed the most important thing. So make sure you stick around. How's that for a hook? Okay, number 5. People aren't buying because they don't understand exactly what they're getting. We know what we're offering because it's our thing. We know what we're selling. It's our product. However, there's a thing called the curse of knowledge. And by the way, House of Films, thank you so much for the super chat. Pat, can I ask how or who helped you with that super cool intro video? Would love to make follow along videos like that, thinking about Yemen. Thank you so much for that. His name is Austin Saylor, Austin Saylor. You can find him on Twitter. Let him know I sent you. He's sometimes here in the chat as well, so I don't know if he's here today, but he's awesome. He helped create that. He does a lot of the graphical work for my courses and little animations and stuff. He's really great. So thank you for that super chat, by the way. Okay, so let's talk about this first of 5, or the 5th thing that is stopping people from buying your stuff. They don't know what they're getting. There's this thing called the curse of knowledge that's described in a book called Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. And in this book, it talks about this curse that we all have. It's called the curse of knowledge. When you know something, it is absolutely impossible to know what it's like to not know about that thing anymore. So when it comes to these products, especially if it's a little bit more complicated, we, because we're so involved, can completely understand these products. But when it comes to relaying exactly what this thing is, it can often come across as either too complicated, too overwhelming. We don't quite understand exactly what's going on. Frank, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. No question, only a big thank you for your tips and continuous support for your online community. Thank you, Frank. Bruh. You're all amazing. Thank you for the super chats this morning. I appreciate you. My Castle Life says, I like that shirt. Thank you so much. Sometimes solving this problem can be just so clear as going, hey, this is legit baseline. What is this thing? This is an online course built to help you get your podcast up and running on all the different platforms and help you get listeners even on day 1 of your show. You can't get more clear than that in terms of what I'm offering in my course, Power Up Podcasting, right? The more clear you are about what it is that you're offering, the less a person is confused. And the less a person is confused, the more likely it is that they are going to make a buying decision. Our job as marketers is to reduce the overwhelm, to reduce the confusion, and to get to a decision-making point, right? But if anybody is confused about any bit or part of what it is that you're offering, unfortunately, they're going to make up a story about why they're not going to buy. Oh, that's a little bit too complicated. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's just, I don't know if this is right for me, right? If you're clear about what it is that you're offering, you're going to set yourself up for success. Now, that's not what it's about, all of it. What's it about? In fact, too many sales pages talk so much about what this thing is that they forget to talk about the objections that people have and all these kinds of things that are required on a sales page too. During this process here today, we're going to talk about different components of a sales page that can help you combat some of these things. But within a sales page and within your messaging, you have to absolutely let people know clearly what this is. There are a number of students that I have who offer coaching services. And unfortunately, there is some really good copy about, okay, well, what's life going to be like on the other end of this coaching? But there's not much copy about, well, what is the coaching like? What is this experience going to be? How much are we going to connect? What is it exactly that you're going to be, doing with me? Why would a person hire you if you don't tell them exactly how it's going to go down, right? Which is why you need to get clear about what it is that you're offering. The features, very important, obviously, but if you can include the benefits to go along with it, even better, right? So let me know, chat, if that makes sense, but that's absolutely important. Helping people understand exactly what it is that they are getting access to. What's it going to do for them? How is it going to go down? What is it like? Yes, if it's an online course, include the different lessons and the videos and how a person goes through this and how often a person should go through ideally, or how long that course might take, right? If it's coaching, how often are you meeting? What are those conversations going to be like? Is there a follow-up process? How am I going to feel more comfortable about making this purchase? If it's a physical product, how am I going to know exactly how this will work for me? Hopefully you can share and demonstrate this in the form of videos or other people who have talked about these things, maybe some really nice graphical images that call out the different pieces and components, right? Sometimes for different products, it's much easier to do than others. But if you nail your target audience and you know exactly what they need help with, likely you're going to be a little bit more understanding of what it is that they want. And the thing that you're including, the thing that you're offering, let's reduce the friction. Let's reduce the confusion. Okay, so that's number 5. So let's count down from number 5 to now number 4. This is a big reason, and this is why we create content. This is why we build relationships online. People aren't buying from you because they don't know you. They don't trust you yet. People will default to doubt online, especially. People default to doubt. Type that in the chat if you hear me there. People default to doubt. They doubt this purchase. They doubt you. They doubt your ability up front, right? You need to earn a person's trust. You need to earn your income. This is why it's called earnings, because you have to work a little bit harder to earn that trust, to get people to KTL you, to know, like, and trust you. KLT you. Know, like, and trust, right? So this is why we create content. This is why we show up. This is why we have webinars. This is why in sales pages we show up and we show a little bit about who we are and our credentials and how other people have worked with us. Testimonials from people who, yes, if a person comes to our sales page, maybe they don't know us, but they can see somebody like them who I've worked with who has gotten results. And that will help with the trust factor as well, right? People default to doubt. Thank you so much. So how do you remove that doubt? Well, let's just go over a bullet point list of a number of different ways to do this. Number 1, you can understand what they're going through. Sometimes if a person doesn't know who you are, but you know them really well, they're going to automatically trust you, at least a lot, right from the start. Jay Abraham, a very famous marketer from the old school days, still around with us today, very fun, love him. He is somebody who I quote quite often, and this quote is very relevant here. If you can understand the problem better than your target customer, they're going to automatically assume you have the solution, right? They will trust you because you know what they're going through. I don't know if you've ever been watching a live stream, perhaps, or reading a sales page, or listening to a podcast, or reading a blog post, or watching a video, a YouTube video, and somebody just says something that makes you go, man, this person knows me so well. Or, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. Or, whoa, this is exactly what I've been looking for. That's one of the best compliments that you can get when it comes to the content and the services and offerings that you're providing online. Because when you nail exactly what they're going through, they're going to assume that you know the solution and the way out. Not right away. There's still some doubt there, but that's going to help fast forward the process so much. So that's first. Secondly, related to this idea of having people not trust you, not know you, is you're asking people to marry you before you've gone on some dates, right? I mean, this is not 90 Day Fiance or whatever that show is called, which is ridiculous and a complete rabbit hole. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest, but hey, if that's the kind of entertainment you like, go ahead. But this is something that requires some time and effort to have people begin to like, to know, and to trust you, right? So there's some things that you can do to help people get to that point. You could provide content that matches their pains, their problems, their wants, desires, needs. One of my favorite ways to get people to know, like, and trust me up front is to, like I talk about in my book, Superfans, is to get people a small, quick win. I love offering small, quick wins. So here is a story about a small, quick win, and I talk about this in my book, Superfans, for you. So let's do some story time here. So back before I became an entrepreneur, I was obsessed with personal finance blogs. I don't know if you remember back in the day when we used to wake up in the morning and you'd check your RSS reader and you'd see all the blog posts that people who you followed with RSS subscribers all in one spot. So I don't know, I think it was Feedly, or I can't even remember the tool that I was using. Anyway, I subscribed to like 30 or 40 different personal finance blogs. I was obsessed about saving money, about collecting money, about my 401k and retirement plans, all this sort of stuff. And there was one personal finance blog in particular that I was not a fan of. And it was a website called IWillTeachYouToBeRich.com. I was not a fan because it was a little off-putting, the name, and the guy seemed a little bit aggressive. His name is Ramit Sethi. However, there was a blog post that was going around the blogosphere that just captured everybody's attention. And I don't remember the exact title, but it was something to the likes of, use this script with your cable company and save 15% a month in just 15 minutes or something like that. It wasn't a Geico commercial, but 15% in 15 minutes or something like that. So you read this blog post, Ramit included a specific set of instructions and a specific script to call your cable company. You say the script and you'll save money. And I was like, no way. I was like, no way. That's okay. Well, I have 15 minutes. I can, during lunch, this was back in my architecture days when I was working on that career, I called my cable company, I read the script, and I saved like 25% of my cable bill. I was blown away, y'all. I was absolutely blown away. I couldn't believe it. And then I was obsessed. I was like, oh my gosh, I've just uncovered treasure here. And then of course, me being a finance nerd, I was like, okay, well, 25% a month extrapolated over 40 years of my life. I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that Ramit saved me, right? So compare that. Somebody who I didn't trust up front, because again, the brand was a little off-putting, which, sometimes we have to worry about as well, but he helped me get a result. Compare that quick, immediate result and the immediate savings that I had to what everybody else was saying. Hey, you got to save and put away every single month. And then when you're 65, then you could enjoy all this, all the fruits of all this labor, right? So that idea of helping people get a win up front is really key. And that can be done through your content on your website, your videos, your podcast. I love, however, in particular, to encourage and to sort of contain results like that within a challenge. I love challenges. In fact, I do something called the 100 Emails Challenge. This is a live challenge that happens once a quarter, once every other quarter probably is more along the lines of the real cadence, but it's still evergreen as well. So if you go to 100emails.com, this is actually, let me show you the website just to kind of give you an idea. And this is free for you to do if you'd like to do this too, but 100emails.com helps you go from 0 to 100 emails in just 3 days. A challenge that is doable. It's not 1 million emails. It's not 100,000 emails. It's not even 1,000 emails. It's 0 to 100 emails in 3 days. So people go through this process. They achieve a goal. They know they need, if they want to start a business, you need an email list, but they've been working hard and just haven't been able to do it yet. If I can get them even a small result, they're going to be more likely to trust me. So my 3 days of emails go out and they instruct people on how to get emails. And then day 4 comes around, they have now emails. And they go, Pat, thank you so much for getting me a result. What do I do next? Okay, well, here's the next step. Go get ConvertKit, for example, which is the email service provider that I recommend. I'm an affiliate for, so I get a kickback, but I'm also an advisor for the company, just full disclosure up front for you. But this thing converts, y'all, because I've helped people get a result. And if they don't know me, but they get this not because of me, but because of the result, because of the challenge, and now they know who I am, now they know I'm legit, now it's much easier to make a sale or a recommendation on the other end. Off-putting, yes. Off-putting, Dawn. So they don't know, like, or trust you. And then, of course, a little bit of a bio on your sales page or just a way to get access to who you are makes a lot of sense. This is why I love webinars leading up to a launch. This is why they work, because a person may not know you, but they like the topic. But then during the webinar, they get to know you. This is why I love podcasting, because podcasting is a great platform to scale that intimacy and to scale that personalization. And so this is a great way to get people interested in what you have to say, what you have to offer before you get into a sales page. And a lot of times, if you do this right, the sales page doesn't need to do a lot of selling. The sales page becomes just a natural conclusion to the conversation, as my buddy Chris Ducker says. So the sales page becomes a part of that conversation. A lot of the work is done up front with the relationship building. How y'all feeling so far? You like the cadence today? Let me know in the chat if you're getting value from this. We've talked about 2 things so far. Number 5, again, was they don't understand what it is that you're offering, right? This is a reason why people don't buy. It's just not clear, right? They don't know exactly what they're getting, so let's be clear about that. Number 4, they don't know you. They don't like you. They don't trust you. How are you going to have some dates first before you ask them for marriage? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. And we're going to keep going here. We're about halfway through, which is great. Dr. Joella, forgot about the early start. Good morning. No worries. That's why we do recaps here for people who come in late, and it's all good. I'm here to help you, and today in particular, we're talking specifically about reasons why people aren't going to buy from you, right? People default to doubt. So we need to uncover and do these things so that people will trust the process, will trust us, will understand that what we have to offer is of benefit to them. Good stuff. Love it. Doing awesome. Taking notes. Great. Getting value. Taking notes. Thank you, Erica. Appreciate you. Fantastic. Well done. Well done, team. Thanks for letting me take a sip of coffee. And thank you for being here, by the way. Yo, we got a super chat from Dan Powers. Thanks for all the knowledge sharing. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you, my friend. You're amazing. Okay, so let's talk about number 3. The third reason why people aren't buying from you. They're worried it's not going to work. We're marketers, so we ruin things. We say great things. We hire copywriters. We put all the right things on the sales page, but yet still people are worried that this is not going to work for them. Maybe even if it worked for other people, well, what if this doesn't work out? What if this purchase was a scam? That's on the extreme. Or the other extreme was, well, this sounds great and it's exactly what I was looking for, but what if it doesn't work for me? What if? We need to answer these questions so that people feel more comfortable with making a purchase. Now, there's a very obvious, well, what if this doesn't work out? That can help make people feel secure about an upcoming purchase that they may be making. And that is a guarantee. A guarantee, or a money-back guarantee, if you want to call it that, is an amazing tool that you can use to help people feel more secure about the purchase that they're about to make. It's almost like, okay, well, I can invest this money. If it doesn't work, I can still get my money back, right? So allowing for people to, oftentimes it's a 30-day money-back guarantee, a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you happen to be selling through a platform, by the way, side tip, like Teachable, for example, make sure that you have the ability to leave or offer a refund should a person ask for it within a certain time period that you are offering, right? Like for Teachable, for example, which is an online course platform, I think they only have a 30-day window, and that is because of the payment processors that they're using, and that's a constraint. So if you offer 60 days, but then it's actually 30 days in the platform that you're using, again, whatever tool that you're using, make sure that you can offer a guarantee in that amount of time. So guarantees are great. Again, they make people feel secure about the purchase. Like if it doesn't work out, well, I can still get my money back, which is great. Now, guarantees can seem very generic, and oftentimes they can be very much overlooked because we see them all the time. Infomercials have ruined them. We marketers have ruined them. So try to help them stand out a little bit more. On your sales page, I want to offer, I want to point you to a direction. Prerna Malik from Content Bistro. She was recently on the podcast to talk about and uncovering certain components of your sales page that are less popular to talk about. One of those things that we actually did talk about is the guarantee. She also talks about testimonials and sharing other kinds of proof that this thing is going to work. Testimonials, we'll get into that in just a moment. That has to do with this as well. But helping people know that if they make a purchase and they can get their money back is great. Don't just have it be a generic 30-day money-back guarantee. I call mine, for example, I actually named the guarantee the Win with Flynn guarantee, right? That helps it stand out. It helps it feel more personalized, and it helps it be something like, okay, Flynn, if this in fact doesn't work out, Flynn, I'm going to reach back out to you. So the Win with Flynn guarantee. And so this is something that I often say, which is like, I make sure that I put everything I can in these courses to help you get a result. In fact, one of my favorite testimonials from people is the fact that these are the only courses that they've ever completed. So if If you make a purchase, you go through the coursework, or even if you don't, if by day 29 you find that, hey, this isn't working out for you, you reach back out to me and no questions will be asked of you. We will offer a full refund for all of the payments that you've already made so far. And that works really, really well. The Win with Flynn guarantee, right? So guarantees inspire confidence, says Rob, for sure. For sure. Now, Wendy says, so hard to give a money-back guarantee for physical products. It definitely is. However, there are ways for people to feel secure about a physical product purchase. You can share a process by which a person could send this back to you and how that might work out, right? So I think it's really important. If it's purchased through Amazon, for example, there is a return policy. That's what it would be called, a return policy versus a refund or a guarantee, excuse me. The other thing about this that can help people feel more secure about a purchase, that will help them understand that this is not fake or that this is not going to work, is perhaps the ability for you to share stories of people that you've already connected with, that you've already helped. This is why I love the podcast. The podcast is an amazing platform to surface hero stories that you or your product have created, right? Invite your customers on your show or on your platform or on your video channel, because when you do that, it showcases people just like them who have gone through it too, which helps them understand, okay, maybe this does work, and it does work for somebody like me. Xavier, what's up? Thanks for being here. Wendy says, and this is super chat from Wendy, thank you so much. Thank you for the great shows, 111 days in a row. Appreciate you so much. Thank you to everybody who has been here any one of these days, and especially Jess Sampson, who is here for 111 days straight, I believe, which is awesome. So thank you, Wendy. I appreciate you. So not just testimonials. Testimonials, I think, should be required, and testimonials should have a person's name tied to it and, of course, a picture to go along with it, or else it just seems like anybody could write anything and it could be there. But even then, it's not going to offer as much trust or brand new trust with you as something like a case study. A case study that you showcase, especially on something like a podcast, can work very well. If I were to look up smartpassiveincome.com/session, I think it's 275. Yes, exactly. So this is a podcast episode, which is really amazing because I invited 3 of my students from one of my courses, Power Up Podcasting, on the show to extrapolate, to take their story and showcase it, not to invite them on to talk about how awesome my course is. That, hopefully, was going to be a byproduct of the conversation. And of course, they were. And I specifically chose 3 different kinds of people who had different kinds of objections, who had different kinds of businesses, some starting from scratch, some already having a business, some online, some offline, starting a podcast, getting results all across the board. Different objections, though, really key, and I'll dive more into that in a minute. This episode alone accounted for over $150,000 worth of sales during a July 2018 launch. And it absolutely was mind-blowing. I knew it was going to work. I didn't know it was going to work this well. And this is where planning comes into play too. If I know that, let's say in September 2020, I'm going to be launching something, I can plan ahead of time to do these interviews and to know what content's going to come out that's going to support that launch. And one thing that should be included is a showcase segment of some kind of some students that you've already worked with. If you don't have these success stories from your audience already, well, guess what? Go get them. Go find them. Even get one result from one person, even if it's an upcoming launch for something brand new. How can you walk a person through it right now to help them get a result so that you can actually now, number 1, help people understand that this thing works, but number 2, also unlock in your brain that this thing works, because here's a side tip. If you aren't confident in what you're selling, why in the world would somebody else be confident in what you're selling, right? So we need to unlock that confidence. Getting people a result is great. But these showcases, these case studies, these stories that you pull out are great. For example, the first story in this podcast episode was of Dr. B, a woman who is over 60. Biggest objection, she thought she was too old, afraid of technology, starting from scratch, no audience, isn't really sure if this is right for them. Podcast, oh, that's for the young folk out there. But hey, she signed up for the course, and now with her ADHD-related podcast, she now has a map, and she told the story on the podcast, which is really amazing. She has a map in front of her computer, and every time she gets a new listener in a new country, she puts a pin in a map on that country. And I asked her on the show, how many countries are you in now? And she said, even just after a couple months, I'm in 33 different countries around the world helping people with ADHD now. And that was absolutely mind-blowing. So, of course, a person who's listening on the other end goes, hey, I'm a little bit older, like Dr. B, or hey, I'm afraid of the technology. I didn't think it was something I could do too, but look, she was able to do it. I can do it too. And that, I've in fact had people reach out to me and go, Pat, you better thank Dr. B for coming on your show because she's the reason why I bought your course, right? Which is really amazing. So, yeah, that can be really, really great. So, in a very StoryBrand, Donald Miller type situation, any Donald Miller fans here, he wrote a book called StoryBrand. You have access to platforms right now, whether it's just a small platform on social media or a big platform that you own like podcast or a blog or a YouTube channel. You should be showcasing the success stories of your audience. Too often podcasters are like, I want to get the A-listers, I want to get the celebrities on the show. Well, guess who's going to convert better for you? Somebody who's just like a member of your audience, somebody who's a member of the tribe. And when people hear that story, they go, oh, that can be me too. More than, oh, here's Tim Ferriss on the show. Oh, that can't be me because he's in a different world, right? Wendy says, that is mind-blowing. This is why I'm here. I'm here to help you. Good stuff. All right. We're closing in now. Now, as a reminder, number 5, people just don't understand what they're getting, right? You're not very clear about what it is that you're offering. We need to be super clear, especially if you're doing something like coaching. Yes, we talk about the results and what we're going to do for people, but in fact, how does it work? How much time is going to be required of me in order to work with you or whatever? So we need to be more clear about what this thing is, what it does, and what the benefits are. Number 4, people don't know, like, or trust you yet. You haven't earned that trust. That's why it's called earnings, because you have to earn that money. And a lot of times it is something where people are asking people to marry you before they go on a date with you first, right? So we need to get people to know, like, or trust you. And this is why demonstration of your expertise or showing up and being personable can really, really help you and paint a great advantage for you when it comes to selling things online. Number 3, the word it's not going to work. So you can include things like guarantees or showcase different case studies of people just like them who have actually gone through the process and have had made it work. Plus that idea of a guarantee that helps them understand, okay, if this actually in fact doesn't work for me, can I still get out of this and get my money back, right? Number 2, this is probably the most popular one. It's not, in my opinion, the most important. The most important reason is coming next. But this is probably the most common objection that we feel there is when it comes to selling anything. Any guesses, in fact, in the chat, live chat, let me know if you can guess what the most common excuse is that people make when it comes to buying something that you have to sell. I need more coffee. Thank you all so much for being here and for the chat and for your dedication to the income stream. You are the reason why we are here 111 days straight. It doesn't seem like we're going to stop anytime soon. I think that when things get back to normal, that's when I will not stop the show, but I think I might reduce it to 3 days a week or change the timing of it because the kids might go back to school. Anyway, don't even want to get into that right now. I do, however, have a video coming out very shortly here today. I just need to redo the thumbnail. The thumbnail, really important in a video, by the way. I need to nail the thumbnail. But anyway, look out for that video coming out around noon today, noon Pacific, so in a few hours. It would be and mean the world to me if you could check out that video. It's a 6-minute video about working from home with kids and how you might be able to manage that. So, okay, you're all amazing. Margaret says, cost too much money, so much money, too expensive, price, that's indeed what it is. I mean, I have my notes here. I could prove it to you. But then that's number 2 here. It's just too expensive. When you ask anybody, well, why didn't you buy? A very, very common excuse is, well, it's just costs too much, or it's too expensive, or, I just didn't have the money right now. Here's the truth, y'all. Here's the truth. If you do all these things that we're talking about here today, if you have the right product, if you've nailed those objections and help people overcome them, if you've helped people feel more secure about this purchase, no matter how much money it costs, the money doesn't even matter anymore. If you can help a person understand the value that they're getting in exchange for what it is that you're offering, money isn't actually going to be an issue at all. Because if it was actually something worth to them, they would pay it, right? They would pay it. So when people say something is too expensive, I mean, there's obviously a line, right? Like if I sold an online course for $5 billion, okay, well, I have a target audience. His name is Elon Musk, right? Or Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett. My target audience is going to be reduced. How amazing. One customer at $5 billion. That's happens for some companies. Anyway, what am I saying? I have no idea. Anyway, what I'm saying is when people say things are too expensive, that's actually code word. It's code word for, well, I'm not quite sure that I'm going to get the value back in exchange. I don't think this is worth my money. It's a messaging problem often. It's a positioning problem. A lot of the things we already talked about today are going to help people get more comfortable with what the price is. But the price is so easy. This is a weapon that our customers have to not buy our stuff. Oh, the price is too high. And so funny. I've seen people like Ramit Sethi, and I've done this a couple times myself. People reach out to me and they go, Pat, I cannot afford your course. I think it's too expensive. I think you should lower the price point. Those kinds of things. People have, and again, Ramit has shared this, and he will publicly, he likes to publicly say these things to haters or naysayers, and they're not haters. If a person says something's too expensive, they're not a hater, right? They are just not thinking about this correctly, and that's our fault by not helping display that. But anyway, what Ramit will do is he'll go, okay, well, I'll cut the price in half for you, but you have to do the work. And then a person goes, no, it's still too expensive. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell it to you for $1. But after you complete the course, you have to do X, Y, and Z, or you have to pay the remaining amount, right? And then a person starts to make up all these other excuses. And you eventually start to realize that price actually wasn't the issue at all. It's a lot deeper. And Ramit, having a psychology background from Stanford, even though he's from Stanford, still love the guy, don't normally like Stanford. I was brainwashed in band at Cal, which is the rival to Stanford. Anyway, still love the guy. You get to uncover that, well, there's a lot more psychological barriers that are included, and price is just the excuse, right? It's just so funny because sometimes you offer something at a much lower price point because their excuse is the price, and then they go, oh, well, you know what, I just don't have that much time, or, oh, you know, like I've tried this thing before and it didn't work out. Well, I thought you said the price was the issue, right? And then you get to realize and uncover the root of what exactly the objection is. And a lot of times it's psychological, like, oh, I don't believe that I'll do the work, or I don't believe that I'm worthy of achieving such success. I even saw one time on Ramit's, like, this person was actually just afraid. Like, after a number of back and forths, this person was just afraid of what their family was going to think if they were to go down this route, right? They uncovered that the price wasn't actually the objection. It was the fact that if they were to spend money on this, that their family was going to object to them going down this route and trying to do whatever it is this course was going to do for them. In which case, then the conversation becomes, well, how can we make our family feel more comfortable about investing time and money into this versus just, well, it's too expensive, right? There's some crazy things that can happen. Onion of excuses, says teacher making the basics fun. Yeah, it is. There's layers. There's layers and layers. Good morning, everybody, especially those of you who are coming in late. Today we are talking about 5 things that are stopping people from buying our stuff. We've talked about 4 so far. So let's rewind. We'll start back with number 5, and we'll go back to number 1 now, which I'll reveal in just a moment here. So number 5. People don't understand exactly what you're offering, right? We know what it is that we're offering, but because we're so tied into it and we're so deep into our business, we are having trouble relaying exactly what this is to our audience. We are somebody who can't read the label because we are inside the bottle. And this is why mastermind groups and having other people on the outside help share what this thing is and what it can do for them is really important, because then you can relay that information to somebody who does not know this as well as you do yet, in a way that it's much easier to consume, to absorb, and to take advantage of. Thank you, Rafal, for the super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. Number 4, they just don't know, like, or trust you yet. Why should they? Out of all the same people in the world talking about the same thing, why should they trust you? This is why content creation, why showing up in webinars, why developing relationships, why Sometimes unscalable things work out really well in the sales process because you're giving people attention that they aren't getting elsewhere, and they're more likely to know, like, and trust you. In fact, the fact that you are a smaller business than others, the fact that you maybe just recently started and have a smaller audience becomes your advantage in this case, because you can get people to know, like, and trust you faster and sooner. And you are somebody who can spend more time and almost cater to somebody more than a bigger brand that's been out there for a while. Number 3, they're worried it's not going to work. What if they purchase something and it doesn't work, or it doesn't fulfill the promises that was offered? So guarantees, important. Sharing case studies of other people like them who've gone through the same process too, absolutely important. Use those tools to your advantage. Number 2, the idea that the price is too high, right? The price is too high. But here's another factor related to this before I move into number 1. Sometimes the price can be too low. Yeah. Having the price be too low can actually stop a person from making a purchase. What? So, story. So when I sold my first ebook back in 2008, this was an ebook study guide. I took a lot of information that was about an exam called the LEAD exam. I put it into a package, a PDF file. Essentially, it was written in Word, just exported as a PDF file, and I sold that online. I sold it for $19.99. And it sold. In fact, the first month in October of 2008, I made $7,908.55, which was 2.3x more than I was making as an architect. It blew me away. A couple months go by, I get an email. I get an email from a customer who's a business owner who says, "Pat, I love everything you're doing, but I have to give you some advice. You are completely undervaluing what it is that you're offering here. It's an absolute steal, and in fact, it almost seems unreal that you're pricing it at this much. I recommend that you price it more." And I was like, wait, first of all, thank you so much, customer, for actually giving me advice. And, this person and I had conversations because he obviously knew that I was brand new at this and this wasn't my full-time thing, or it was going to be my full-time thing, but I just had no idea what I was doing. Anyway, he reached out to me. I increased the price point from $19.99 to $29.99. Almost a 50% increase. And I was so worried because I wanted to play the role of, hey y'all, I have the cheapest thing that you can get out there. I want to help everybody, and this is why you should get this. And I think I told this story yesterday, but imagine you're walking through a furniture store and all the furniture in the store is thousands of dollars, like exquisite, beautiful, imported, antique, etc. And you come across this gorgeous chair, right? And it's amazing. And you expect it's gonna cost the same as these other things or even more because it looks amazing. And you look at the price tag and it's only $15. What's going through your head? You're probably thinking, what's wrong with this? Is it cursed? If I sit on it, is it gonna break? Did somebody poop their pants in the chair one day and it just smells? I don't know, right? Sorry. So there's this idea of perceived value. Something that's priced lower, in fact, can be seen as legit. Yes, it is cheaper, but also cheaper in the sense that, well, this is probably not as valuable as it should be, right? And so when it comes to pricing, I recommend, and Ramit recommends, Ramit is sort of the king of pricing in my opinion, and I've had him on the podcast several times to talk about this. In fact, let me see if I can find this for you, because I know a lot of you are at that moment where you're looking for information about pricing. Let's go to the search bar, Ramit Sethi price. The right products at the right price. SPI podcast episode 222. So if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/session 222, that will take you to this podcast episode where Ramit and I talk about price and how to price things properly. And this is where you start to uncover his philosophy and my philosophy of playing the game of premium, right? And this is when people will invest more money with you to take advantage of these offers that you have, and you can attract a much higher quality student or customer who's actually going to take action and help you justify that price too. So sometimes, yes, the price can be too high, but sometimes the price is too low. Interesting. Okay, let's move on to number 1. What is the number 1 reason why people aren't buying from you right now? Here it is. People aren't buying from you right now because they don't have a reason to. There's no reason to make a decision right now. When people are buying stuff from you, they have to pull out their credit card. They have to spend money. They have to essentially invest in that. They are losing something first before they gain something, right? They're losing money before they gain the result or gain the product, right? So it's a big ask to get people to buy something from you. But if you don't give people a reason to make a decision, they're not going to make a decision. This is why sometimes when we have products that are just evergreen online that people can purchase at any moment in time, and there's no real reason to purchase now, there's no difference between purchasing it today, then tomorrow, then next week, then next year. If there's no reason to do it, why is a person going to buy? We need to hone in on our superpowers as marketers and where we should be focusing, which is this. We need to become professional decision maker helpers. That's our role. We help people make a decision, and we encourage people to make a decision. That's what we need to do. Now, there are some tactics and strategies that can be used for good, and there's some tactics and strategies out there that could be used for bad. But marketers, we have superpowers. We entrepreneurs, we have superpowers. But these superpowers can be used for good or for bad. With great superpowers, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Spider-Man. That wasn't Spider-Man who quoted that, but that's within Spider-Man. Anyway, one of these strategies that we can use to help people make a decision is creating a sense of urgency. And again, this can be used for good or it could be used for bad. It could be used, false scarcity is not okay, right? Just a fake countdown timer that when a person lands on a page, they have 24 hours to make a decision or the course goes away, but then they come back tomorrow and then a new countdown timer comes out. That's not okay. Those are strategies that are sort of, yeah, they can work. However, once people find out, or sometimes for many it's very obvious, it just leaves a bad taste in a person's mouth. And I always recommend being authentic and honest up front. However, you should include some sense of urgency so that a person can get to that point where they go, okay, should I get this now or shouldn't I? And then hopefully with all the things that we talked about today, they will lean more toward, okay, well, this makes sense for me to do. And I have a guarantee to get out of this in case it doesn't work. And this has helped so many other people in the past. And I know, like, and trust you. And this is exactly what I've been looking for. And I understand what that process is going to be like, what that experience is going to be like on the other end. Okay. Now I have a reason to purchase now, not because of those things, but because of the sense of urgency, right? So there's different kinds of scarcity and urgency that can be involved. In many cases, especially for physical products, let's say, for example, it's a t-shirt that you're offering. Well, hey, guess what? You're going to do a limited run of 100 of those shirts. So there is a sense of urgency because there's a limited quantity. Much easier to do in the physical product world than the digital product world. However, not impossible in the digital product world. There are cases, for example, even with things like online courses, where you got to be careful if you're injecting scarcity into a digital product, because if it's not portrayed correctly, it can come across as sleazy, right? Hey, there's only so many online digital course licenses that I could offer. No, it's not. No, there isn't. It's a software. It's a digital product. You can you can have as many people come in as possible. Sometimes it can come across fake if you don't do it correctly. However, there are cases where with a digital product, you can only offer so many spaces because of the way that you're approaching it. So let's say an online course, for example. Well, hey, this is a beta launch. And as a result of being a beta launch, I'm only going to take a certain number of people, of students, before I close it up. Then I work closely with those students to help them through that process. And then I'll reopen it in the future. And that like, if you want to be first to get access to this and get a little bit more additional access to me, be a part of the beta launch or the founders launch. And this is exactly what we're doing with SPI Pro right now. You can sign up still through next week, but the application dates will close very soon. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/pro, we're accepting applications for our upcoming membership community, which will be launched July 15th. So look out for that, smartpassiveincome.com/pro. But anyway, having a beta launch and closing down a launch to specifically work with those people can be a great strategy, especially if you're launching something for the first time. If you're doing coaching, right, you can only take so many clients. So having a certain number of spots is great to help people create a sense of urgency, because if they don't make a decision now, they might miss out, right? People hate missing out on opportunities. And this is sort of what we're playing on. We don't want to take terrible advantage to this, but we have to take advantage of it, because this is our way to help people do what? Not spend more money with us, but to help us get them a result. That was the big mindset shift for me. You kind of have to use these strategies if you really want to help convince a person so that you can help them. If you don't do these things, they're just going to sit on the fence the whole time and they're not going to get a result. You're actually not helping a person if you're just letting them sit on the fence. We have to create a sense of urgency, right? Now, there is, like Lewis here says, the link expires after this offer, right? So this is another opportunity to create a sense of urgency or scarcity, in which case you can go, well, hey, there's a discount or a special bonus during this campaign that goes away on this date. There's great tools out there that can help you manage this process even more. One of them being called Deadline Funnel, deadlinefunnel.com, run by a guy named Tom. He's awesome. And this tool allows you to put not just countdown timers on your stuff, but in fact, the more advanced way to use it is it creates a unique countdown timer or countdown sequence for each individual based on a trigger moment. Let's say, for example, the trigger moment is after they subscribe to your email list. You can have a period after they subscribe to an email list by which you offer a specific discount. Whoa, sorry, so many noises coming in. You can offer a discount or access to a certain bonus that legit will go away uniquely for that person. So this is why real-time launches work really well, because you have a launch date, there's an opening, there's bonuses, there's perhaps a discount included, and on this date, you have to make a decision or else that goes away. Remember, I said people need a reason to make a decision. So here's a campaign, here's the date at which the price goes back up and or these bonuses go away, and you got to act now. Now people have a reason to at least make a decision of a yes or no decision, right? This is the big thing here. If there's no reason to make a yes or no decision, then it's just going to be, well, not right now, right? And that could work out really well for you. But Deadline Funnel can create a unique launch-like sequence for each individual based on that trigger moment. A little bit more advanced. I've used it before. In fact, we still continue to use it because you can actually have a redirect. If people, after they go through that process, they don't purchase, they try to get it later, it actually tells them, no, you can't get this right now, or it puts them somewhere else, right? So it is actually a legit, not false scarcity, but for each individual. So that's Deadline Funnel, a little bit more advanced. Another thing that you can do is to amplify the problem so much that it absolutely makes sense to take advantage of this now. This amplification of the problem comes from Ray Edwards, who I don't know if he's in the house right now, but he's actually been in the chat before. We've done a channel review for him, rayedwards.com, a masterful copywriter. He has a model for copywriting called the PASTOR model. P is in problem, defining the problem. What is that problem? A, so this is an acronym, PASTOR. A is the amplification of that problem, right? Before you get into the solution and then the testimonials and then the offer and then the what's the R? Anyway, you can look. Ray Ed has been on my show as well to talk about the PASTOR model, so you can look up Ray Edwards on the Smart Passive Income blog, and you'll find an episode where we talk about this if you need help with copywriting. But anyway, the A is the amplification of that problem. In some cases, much easier to do than others. But let's say, for example, it is a sort of weight loss or fitness thing that you're doing, right? The problem, you're not confident, perhaps you're gaining weight or you're losing energy, you want to be more productive, you want to be more creative, and you know that fitness and nutrition is a part of this. Let's amplify that problem even more. Meaning, if you don't take care of this now, this is where, again, we get into the reason to make a decision now. Every day that you don't go by to help yourself physically is a day that you're getting weaker or gaining more weight. And ultimately, and again, there are some fine lines that we have to make sure we balance, because obviously you can fearmonger and you can go directly to that. Hey, if you don't take care of this now, you're going to die. I wouldn't recommend getting that blunt. But there is something to be said for playing on the idea of, hey, if you wait on this, you're going to lose this opportunity, right? Talking about the competition, talking about the consequences. These are things that can also drive people to make a decision now if you do not want to or don't have the opportunity to include specific things that get taken away from them if they don't take action now, right? This is the biggest one. We don't give people a reason to take action now. So these are the 5 things. Let me know in the chat which one of these 5 things resonated most for you. If you're watching the replay, use the hashtag team replay in the chat. And also tell me what your biggest takeaway was as well, right? Offer. R is for response. Thank you, Miss Patricia. You're amazing. I see you. I want to share that. P is for problem. A is for amplify. S is for story and solution. T is for transformation, and testimony. O is for offer, R is for response. Love that. Thank you. So let's go over these 5 things, and you let me know which one was the one that is most speaking to you. So one more time. Number 5, they don't understand what you're talking about, what it is that you're offering in your coaching program. What's that even going to be like? Yes, you're sharing what it is like on the other end of it, but what's that process going to be like in your online course? How many modules? What is it exactly that I'm going to be learning and going through? Show me. Show me. That's number 5. Number 4, they don't know or trust you yet. You haven't earned the right to get earnings because people don't know you yet. Testimonies, case studies, sharing your expertise, having people get to know you, things like webinars, your podcast, video channels where people can get to know you can help out a lot in that regard. Number 3, people are worried it's not going to work. What if they make this purchase and it actually doesn't fulfill on its promise? Can you offer a guarantee, or can you showcase more proof that this thing is actually worth considering? Number 2, price is either too high, in which case that's really just an excuse for, well, the positioning or the messaging statement just doesn't come across as valuable to them, or the price is too low. It almost seems too good to be true, or unreal, or kind of maybe lower quality. And then number 1, you're not giving people a reason to make a purchase decision right now. Number 2, cost, not seeing the value. Number 4, thank you. Let's see, number 3, pricing, undervaluing your offer. Pat, thank you, says Consult the Blind Guy. Thank you, Pat Flynn. Major value today. Show the testimony. All the tips help me. That's great, Isaiah. Thank you so much. If you don't buy one of our pens, you'll get laughed at for using a disposable one. On my coaching page, I was thinking about adding a section like 5 reasons why most people will never hire a coach, to disarm those excuses. Yes, that's in fact what we need to do. Disarm the excuses. I love that word, Johnny. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Disarming. On your sales page, you should absolutely be completely upfront with, hey, you're probably thinking this, or hey, if you're worried about this, don't worry, I got you, right? Like, I know, and again, I keep using Ramit as an example, but he's a primo example of somebody who knows exactly what he's talking about, especially because a lot of this is psychology based. And again, he has a psychology degree from Stanford, and he injects that into his sales launch sequences. This is why I subscribe to email from Ramit, just to learn. I highly recommend you do that too. On his sales page, for his course that is related to getting a raise, right? How to get a raise, or how to get a higher paying job. He will say things like, even if you fumble in interviews and you're not great at answering questions, I'll show you the process to make sure that you're always answering in the way that's going to impress the person who's interviewing, right? I'm going to help you understand how to not settle for something less, because you've probably made decisions because you're worried that you might lose out on that opportunity. But I want to give you the best opportunities and show you exactly how to do that. So he takes these objections that people have, right? Like for my email marketing course, for example, I know the exact objections that people have when it comes to email. One of them being, for example, well, I'm worried that I'm going to upset my audience if I start selling through my email list. So I might say on my sales page, even if you're worried about coming across too aggressive or upsetting your subscribers when you're selling something, don't worry, because I give you 5 templates that you can choose that allow you to sell something in a way that you'll actually get thanked for, right? I give you copy that helps you not come across as sleazy, right? So I take that objection and I flip it on its head. And hey, y'all, we are now at the bottom of the hour, which means you got to call it. But today was really, really great. Thank you so much for your energy in the chat today. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I highly recommend you come back and watch this later, because this is something that we'll need to rinse and repeat over time, as we sometimes forget because we're so involved in our businesses. We forget these higher level things that are really important when it comes to making buying decisions. So, yes, can you do a day where we talk about why we as creators undervalue? Yeah, pricing I think could be an interesting day. We got a lot more topics to talk about, y'all. So make sure, please, you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe below. Thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up before you leave. And if you're watching the replay, #team replay. Thank you so much for being here today. And remember, at noon today, I have a video coming out about working from home with kids. It would very much be, I'd be very grateful if you went and you saw that video. So make sure you hit subscribe. If you haven't yet done so, hit that bell notification icon so that when that video comes out, you can come in, leave a comment. That velocity up front really helps. And this is a topic that needs to be seen by more people, especially now because everybody's working from home now, and especially those with kids. It's a struggle. it's an absolute struggle, and I share some tips to help you get out of that. So thank you so much. Look out for that video coming out later, and I appreciate you. And as always, Team Flynn for the win. Peace out, y'all.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Thanks, y'all. And remember this link, patflynn.com/theincomestream. This will be what you use every day if you want to come in and get some help here. 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, back at the regular time. Appreciate you. Take care.
Bruh.
Love you.